Good morning, everyone. So we had started with the first lesson, Introduction to Linux. We have seen some characteristics of Linux. We have seen some features of Linux. We have seen the advantages of Linux. We know what are the different types of users that exist in the Linux system. Then after that, we had also seen the structure of Linux operating system. Can anyone tell which were the main components in the structure of the Linux operating system? Anybody? Components?
Yes, ma'am. There were kernel, system libraries, system tools, development tools, and end user tools.
So we had kernel, system libraries, system tools, system utilities, development tools, and then end users. After that, we had seen that a Linux follows a file system hierarchy. So we had seen that every file and folders that we call it in the that we call in Windows are called as directories in the Linux operating system. And every data is stored in different kind of directories. So if it is device related information, it is in the DEV directory. If it is boot related information, it is in the boot directory. If it is admin related information, it will be in the root directory. If there are any temporary files, it will be in the TMP directory. So every data that is stored in the form of files and folders in Windows are stored in the form of directories inside the Linux. Then after that, we had seen that there are different commands which can be used to find the information about the other commands in Linux. So we had seen man page command, which is nothing but the manual documentation. So if I want to find any manual documentation of any command, I have to use man in front, or you have to use man followed by the command name in order to find the information about that command. So we had various options of man page also. If I make use of -f, it will give me the information about that particular command in a single line or a single statement information. If I want to find all the keywords matching to that command, I have to use an option small k. If I want to find the location of that particular command, I have to make use of -w. And if I want a detailed information, I will be using -K. So it will search for that particular command in entire manual pages. After that, we had seen an info page. Info page command. Now, what was that info page command? It is more detailed information as compared to your man page command. So that means if you want to scroll through that pages, you have to use you have to use next, previous, and then quit, like that. So it is into multiple pages, and to read that particular information, we have to use these commands to go to the next page, previous page, or to quit. Now here also we had seen that there are many options. So if I use -a, it was showing all the matching manuals with respect to that command. If I use again -w, it was showing me the location of that particular command. If I use man info, that means it will give me the information about what a man page, or in man page it will give me the information about info page. What will happen when I type man info? Anything written in front of man is considered to be as a command, and it will find the manual page of that command. So when I write man info, it will go into the manual documentation and give me the information about the info page. In information page itself, we have a help page. So if you want to access that help page, you can type info -- help. So it will display you the help page. What is there in this help page? All the options that are available and all the commands that are available can be specified or can be seen with a single line of information inside the help page. Okay. Then we had also seen what is command line. What was command line? What is command line? Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
What is command line? Do you all remember? If at all I want to execute certain commands in my Linux operating system, where am I supposed to write those commands? I'm supposed to write those commands in
Terminal.
terminal,
Terminal.
or that terminal is called as command line. Okay, so the place where I write the commands to make my thing work or to complete that particular operation, I consider that as a command line. So it is also called as command line, or we call it as a terminal. So it is a place where we call it as a text based interface, where we mention certain text which are nothing but the commands. Who types these commands? They are being written by the user with the help of the keyboard, and after you press enter, whatever that command has to do, the system will perform that activity and give the output to you on the same terminal itself. Okay, so we also call it as terminal, and inside terminal we have a shell. So within the terminal you have a shell. So what is that shell? We had seen in the diagram. Did you remember that we have multiple types of shells? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So the shell is a part of an operating system that defines how the terminal will behave and how it will look like after executing the commands by the user. So it is a place where a user will be writing the commands inside the terminal itself, and it will tell you that what the terminal is going to do after you write that particular command. So if you have written ls, so what will that ls do? It has to list all the documents. If I write mv, what does that mv has to do? It has to move from one document from one place to another place. So we have multiple types of shells, and we have a command which is used to tell us that what type of shell it is. Now the command is called as an echo command. So now is Nishit there? Okay. Now I had told that echo is only the command which is used to find out the shell, but when I tried it on the Oracle virtual machine, the command tells that you have to mention echo, and in front of that you also have to write shell, and then when you press enter it will tell you which shell it is. So please see in the chat box I'm typing how the command is exactly to check the shell. See, so when I type echo $shell, when I press enter, the command prompt will give me the answer that which shell it is, whether it is a bash shell, C shell, or some other shell. Okay, so whichever shell I'm currently working or a user is currently working, if you want to find that, you can use this echo command, and in front of echo you have to specify a keyword called as $shell, which will tell you what is the name of the shell in which you are currently working. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then next we were trying to see that what is GUI. So GUI stands for graphical user interface. So let it be any operating system. We have a command line where we type the commands and complete our operation. Or the other thing is we make use of graphical user interface. That means we make use of graphics like buttons, drop down, pop-up menus, windows, like that, to make to complete our operation. So if it is a Linux operating system, it supports both the command line as well as GUI. So if I do not remember the commands, I can simply use the GUI interface to complete my work. Okay. Then we had seen that there are multiple examples of the operating system which has GUI. So let it be Windows operating system and any version of Windows operating system, it is a GUI. If it is an Mac operating system, your Mac operating system also has a GUI. If it is a Chrome OS, your Chrome OS is also a GUI based operating system. Let it be Linux, Unix, or its variants or any distribution, all the types of Linux, all its versions of Linux, Unix, all the versions of Unix are also considered to be as a GUI based operating system. So if I do not remember the commands, I can always use GUI also in Linux to complete the operation. Okay. Then in Linux, we have different examples of GUI, and you have to select this GUI at a time you do the installation. Okay. So you have GNOME as a GUI, you have KDE as a GUI. Now what happens is whenever you select, the interface is shown during the installation. That means how the interface will look like, that is shown in the step of the installation. So you just see whichever interface is better to you, you can select all any of that particular interface. So Genome is one of the name of the interface, and KDE is also name of an interface. Now, all the basic applications can be installed in Genome also and can be installed in KDE also. So for example, if it is your MS Office kind of application, so if it is supported in Genome, it will always be supported in KDE also. Clear? Let it be any of your browsers. If the browsers are supported in Genome, all those basic browsers will be supported in KDE also. So all the basic things which you want to install, they won't differ from any of the interface. They will be supported by both of the interfaces. Then we had also seen what is root. Do you remember what was root? The root is also called as the admin of the system. So all the administrative activities which we called as admin in Windows will be now called as root in your Linux operating system. Okay. So who is root? It is nothing but a user or a user account, but which has all the administrative rights. Okay. Now what kind of administrative right it will have? It can grant and revoke all the access permissions. For example, what kind of access permission? If the user wants that so and so users can read a particular file, it will give a read access. If it wants that so and so user should have read as well as modify, it will give that particular permissions to that user. So if you are a normal user and if you want certain permissions on some another file, it is a root who is going to give you that particular permissions. So you will get all the permissions on the files which you have created. But if you want some extra permissions on the file which other users have created, so you have to first ask the root. It is a root user or an administrator who will give these privileges to you. And once the privileges are granted, then only you can access that particular other user's file inside the system. But if I am a root, I can do all the changes, all the activities with respect to all the files of all the users inside the system. Okay, so if you are a root, you have all the rights. You do not have to take any permission. You do not have to. There's no need of granting and revoking permissions from everywhere. But if in case you are a normal user, you have to take a permission of a root user in order to access any documents which belongs to some another user. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Then we had also seen how to log in as a root. So if you want to log in as a root, you should have a user ID of a root as well as you should have a password of a root. So if you do not have password or if you do not even know the login ID, you can never log in as a root user in the system. There is a special command called as su. Do you remember what does this su mean? It is either called as super user or switch user. This allows you to temporarily run the command as a root account. So whenever you write this command on your terminal su, the very next step that it will ask you is the password. So if you know the password, so for temporary purpose, even if you are normal user, it will allow you to act as a admin. Why? Because you know the root password. If you do not know the root password, you cannot even act as a root. So if you are normal user, you can switch from normal to root account. How do you switch from normal account to root account? By typing this command. As soon as you type this su and press enter, it will automatically ask you for the password. Once if the password is correct, it will convert you from the normal user to the root user. And then you can perform the root related activities or the admin related activities and again switch back to the normal account. But in case if you do not know this password, it will never allow you to switch from normal account to the root account. Clear? So we call this $sign for normal user and we call this ## as for the root user. So this is how you differentiate from a normal account to the root account. Then we have to now see what is virtual console. Any idea what is virtual console?
A remote, something like that.
Sorry?
A remote device.
A remote device. Okay, what will that remote device do?
Connect to the main PC and like access files and make changes if he or she has that access to it.
Correct. That means it is a terminal. If I do not have something, I will get connect to that terminal in order to perform the activities. Is it something like that?
Yeah.
So if I do not have one software, I may get connected to Tahir's system. Since Tahir is having that software, I will use that software from his system. And then when my work is completed, I'll get disconnected. Is it something like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, do you remember that in we have many different types, or we can say generations of computer, mainframe computer, mini computer, supercomputers. Have you heard them?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now, when I talk about virtual console, so it is a Linux virtual console which I'm talking about. Okay. Now, when I say about this Linux virtual console, there is one thing that comes, one concept that comes along with this, which is called as a concept of a terminal. Now, what is a terminal? It is not the command shell terminal which I'm talking about. In general, what will be a terminal? Can I say this is a terminal? Sorry, can I say this is a terminal?
Yes.
So any computer which has a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse, can I call it as a terminal or as a node?
Yes.
Okay. So now what is happening? In olden times we had a mainframe computers. Okay. Why we had mainframe computers? Because during that time buying a personal computer with all the facilities was little expensive. Okay, now we can have personal computers because we can afford now. But at those times, we were using a mainframe computer, and we were having only a basic computer which will have a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse into it. Okay, but so if I want to install anything, something extra, I have to get attached to this mainframe computer. So what is this terminal having? My computer is having basic thing, input, that is keyboard, and an output. Okay, so this terminal will do a work only of giving the input to the system and displaying the output. I did not had anything like processor into it, or which will do the actual kind of processing and storing the data. I did not had that type. So I was getting connected to the mainframe computer. What was this mainframe computer doing? The work of this mainframe computer was, it was used to allow the multiple users to connect it with it. So this is only the one thing, one terminal which is connected, but like this, I can have multiple terminals connected to it. But multiple terminals means multiple users can be connected. What was that multiple users doing? All those multiple users were trying to send the data to this mainframe computer. This mainframe computer will do the processing, and it will only, after the processing is done, it will give only the output to be displayed to this terminal. That means these terminals were not doing any work apart from getting input and displaying output, but the actual work was done by whom? The actual work was done by the mainframe computer. So we call this as a separate computer, which was used only for the purpose of processing. Why it was used only for the purpose of processing? Because the terminal which I was using in those days were not that efficient to do the processing and to generate the output within itself. Nowadays, the personalized computers which we have, we give input udhar hi, we processing bhi udhar hi hota hai, output bhi udhar hi milta hai. But what was happening during those times, since I could not afford that much of expensive computers, I had a system in which I can only give input and I can only observe output. Through some connections, I was sending my data to this mainframe computer. Mainframe computer was doing my processing, and then it was displaying me the output. Okay. That is one concept that we are using. So we have multiple users which will be connected to this computer, and all those multiple users will do what? Only the work of input and output. But who will be doing the actual work? Actual work will be done by this processors. So we also call these terminals as TTY. Okay, teletype terminals. Why they are called as teletype terminals? Because they are the terminals which only take the input and give the output. So the terminals which do not do the processing work, such kind of terminals are called as TTY, and they stand for teletype terminals. Okay. Now, what is this virtual console which I am talking about in Linux? Same scenario which is happening over here can be done in your Linux operating system also. Now, what is this physical console? ये physical console क्या है? Any idea? From the diagram only, can you tell me what is it? One is physical console, one is Linux system. This physical console is nothing but a device or a terminal which is connected to this Linux system via what? Via some serial cable. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see the diagram? हाँ. So I have two terminals. One is the Linux system का terminal and one is the normal physical terminal. Physical console means normal terminal. ठीक है? Normal computer. Both of these computers are connected with the help of a serial cable. Now, if you remember, we have multiple types of I/O ports. To one I/O port, we connect keyboard. अभी keyboard में भी we see what type of keyboard it is. Is it a USB port of keyboard? या फिर PS2 वाला पोर्ट कीबोर्ड है या फिर सीरियल पोर्ट वाला कीबोर्ड है. इनिशियली नाउअडेज एवरीथिंग इज रिप्लेस्ड विद यूएसबी. यूएसबी के पहले एक PS2 टाइप का कीबोर्ड आता था, पर्पल एंड ग्रीन कलर. डू यू रिमेंबर?
Yes, ma'am.
So when I have a purple and green color, so one purple was used for connecting the keyboard and green was used for connecting the mouse. Correct? तो वो कौन से टाइप के थे? They were round in shape. PS2 था वो. ओके आपका यूएसबी कैसा रहता है? थोड़ा रेक्टेंगुलर इन शेप विथ 4 स्लॉट्स, 2 अप 2 डाउन लाइक दैट. उसके पहले सीरियल पोर्ट्स आते थे, सीरियल केबल्स आते थे या फिर सीरियल पोर्ट बोलते थे हम उसको. तो उसका कनेक्शन वाज डन ऑन टू द सीरियल पोर्ट. तो द केबल वेयर कीबोर्ड वाज यूज्ड टू कनेक्ट, दैट केबल वाज कॉल्ड एज सीरियल केबल and the port to which it was connected was called as serial port. It somewhat looks like your monitor का port. Monitor का जो blue color का port रहता है ना.
HDMI.
Just a second, I'm getting call from college. Okay, so where were we? So likewise, we can connect these two computer system with a serial cable. ठीक है, so it is similar. That cable connector similarly looks like to your monitor cable, जो अपना blue color का slot रहता है I/O port पे, where we put the monitor cable there.
HDMI.
Not HDMI. HDMI दूसरा हो
The
गया.
15. That 15
Sorry.
VGA cable, ma'am.
हाँ, VGA cable, correct. VGA.
data cable.
14 पिन कनेक्टर VGA केबल. यस, आपका डेस्कटॉप का जो मॉनिटर हम CPU से कनेक्ट करते हैं, it is generally a blue color slot of on your motherboard, so that is a VGA cable. So your the serial port also looks like that only. So in that port or using that port, we connect these two particular system, and the cable which is used is called as a serial cable. So you can see over here it is written as serial port. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Yeah, so this is the serial port of your Linux system. This is a serial port of your physical console or normal terminal, and both of them are connected through a serial cable. Okay, so now we have seen, or we know that these two systems are going to communicate. How are they both going to communicate? They are going to communicate with the serial cable. Okay, now this is what is written something over here as virtual console. Where is this virtual console? It is inside your Linux system. ठीक है, Linux system के अंदर ही एक virtual console है. What is this virtual console? We can call it as an application which is going to do all the work of this particular physical terminal. So ये physical terminal जो काम नहीं कर पाएगा, through the serial cable it will send to the Linux system. This has an application or a software inside this Linux system which is going to do the work of some another terminal connected via the serial cable. Are you understanding? Okay, so when I say that who both are connected, it is a Linux system and physical console that are connected. But actually, who is doing the communication? It is the communication is actually done or completed by this virtual console, which is nothing but a software or application that is running inside it. So it is similar to this particular scenario. मेरे पास physical console है जिसमें सिर्फ input और output है, वो कुछ प्रोसेसिंग का काम नहीं कर सकता. So I am sending it to this mainframe, which is nothing but this mainframe over here, and inside that I have some application which is acting as a virtual console, doing all the work which this particular system has requested for. After that work is completing, it is displaying only the output on this particular system. So this virtual console is nothing but any particular software, or it is any application which is doing the work on behalf of this Linux system, completing that work and again giving the output through the same serial cable to this particular physical console. Are you understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we have seen that in Linux we have multiple GUI, correct? Genome is one of the GUI interface. KDE is one of the interface. So every interface of your GUI will have this virtual console. ठीक है? It is not necessary कि आपका command prompt है और GUI है, दोनों support करता है तो virtual console नहीं होगा. कौन सा भी GUI होने दो, any type of GUI interface, let it be, it will have this virtual console. Only how many virtual consoles will be there, that will keep on differing. Clear? Understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now again in Linux also you have multiple distribution. Ubuntu is a distribution, Red Hat is a distribution, Fedora is a distribution. Again in that also number of virtual consoles will be different. So Ubuntu, which we are studying, that has 7 virtual consoles. Okay, so Red Hat may be having more or less virtual console. Your Fedora will be having some different count of virtual console. So if you are having different versions of your Linux operating system, all those versions will also differ in the number of the virtual consoles. Understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Now what is happening? Where are we executing the commands? We execute the commands on our terminal. Shell में जाके हम execute करते हैं, correct? Now if I want to enter into virtual console, how do I switch from terminal to virtual console? I switch by pressing Control plus Alt, and apart from that I can press any keys from F1 to F7. I repeat, Control plus Alt plus any key from F1 to F7. Whenever I press this, it will take you inside the virtual console. Okay, so from terminal, whenever you shift or whenever you press Control Alt and any function key from F1 to F7, it will take you inside the virtual console. When you enter inside the virtual console, you will get to see all the users that are connected. Apart from that, you will also get to see your own username also. So for example, if I have logged in into the system as Neeti, so I will get to see Neeti. I will get to see Tahir also if Tahir is connected. I will get to see Varshil name also if Varshil is connected, and I'll get to see Pratham ka name also if Pratham is connected. So what are these? Tahir, Varshil and Pratham, they are nothing but the physical console. They are connected to whom? They are connected to my system. My means Neeti's system, and to that they are connected to the virtual console. Okay, so whenever you enter into virtual console, it will always take you, or it will always ask you to log in as a root. So you give the pass. हाँ बोलो.
Ma'am, there are only 6 virtual consoles. Now the 7th one is for the GUI.
Whatever I have read is 7. I have not seen the distribution of that 7. कि 7 में कौन से है. So you're telling 6 plus 1 ऐसा है?
Yes, ma'am. The 7th one is to go back to the GUI.
Okay, the 7th one is go back to the GUI. Okay, but I think by F1 also you can go back to GUI. That means you can exit and you can come back to your terminal for F1. Are you talking this only?
No, ma'am. As I have read, the control on F7 leads back to the GUI.
Okay, But if you okay, हाँ, F7 takes back to GUI, but if you want to go back to the terminal, मतलब जिस पे आप command execute करते हो, command line पे जाना है तो you have to press F1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so where was I? So whenever you enter into the virtual console, it will ask you to give the login details of root. So you have to give the password of the root account, and once you do that, you can see all the list of users. And if you cannot see, you can also type a command called as who. Okay, so once you type who, okay, once you type this who, it will tell you who all are the users that are there inside the system. So as I was telling, प्रथम, निश्चित, वर्षिल, ये सब नाम अगर आपको initially नहीं दिखते हैं, तो you can type this command who and you can check that who all are connected to the system. Clear? What is virtual console?
Yes, ma'am.
So the thing which your computer cannot do, so you can connect to some another system. That other system will act as a virtual console for you and get your work done. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we had also seen that we have different types of shell. And if I just told you that if you want to know into which shell you are, you can type the command echo $shell. And as soon as you press enter, it will tell you into which shell you are. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we have types of shell like Bourne shell, where that means if you see a $sign, it is a Bourne shell. If you see such angular bracket, it is a C shell. So every shell has a different type of character from which it can be recognized. Then let us see what are the different types of files. Wait a minute, my system is going slow. Now let us see what are the different types of files that we have inside a Linux. So in Linux and Unix, everything is a file. Directory is also considered to be files. Files are also considered to be files. Devices like printer, mouse, keyboard, everything you talk about will be considered as a file. So you have two types of files, general files and directory files. Now what are general files? They are also called as ordinary file. What they can contain images, videos, programs, or any kind of editor file, that is text file, notepad, like this. They can be in ASCII form or in binary format. These are most commonly used files by the Linux user. So if I save an image, my image will go into the file type called as general file. If I write any program which has certain commands, that file is also called as general file. If I have a folder in which I have a video, that video file will also be considered as a general file. Okay, so they are nothing but the ordinary files, or anything which a user has created will be considered as a general file. Okay, in what format it will be? It will be either in the ASCII format or in the binary format. The another type of file is the directory files. These files are warehouse for other file types. You can have a directory file within the directory, that is a subdirectory. You can take them as folders found inside the Windows operating system. Now, what do we have in Windows? We have files and folders. Okay. Now, if you remember in last lecture, I had told you in Linux, we do not have any folders. We have a directories. So the directory which you can see, like dev directory, mount directory, temporary directory, those are nothing but the directory files. Inside this directory files, whatever you have will be considered to be as subdirectories. And what do you have inside those subdirectories, which will be these kind of general files. Okay. So folders are nothing but directory files, and the material inside that folder will be considered as a general files. So you can also call them as a subdirectory. एक directory के अंदर directory can be considered as a subdirectory. Are you understanding?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Last we have is the device files. Now what will be the device files? Any idea from the name itself?
The files related to the devices for
Correct.
that are mounted to /dev.
Correct. All the files related to your devices will be there inside which particular file type. It will be there inside the file type called as devices. Now I may have a hard disk inside the system. So if I have a file on that hard disk, it will be as /dev/sda. That is what this is, a type of the hard disk, SDA, that is SATA hard disk. I hope everyone knows that we have two type of hard disk, PATA and SATA. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is this SDA? SDA is one of the file type. Inside which directory? Inside the directory called as device. So this is nothing but the device file, which is inside the directory file called as DEV. Again, this is the device file having the information with related to which device? SATA device, where it is stored inside the directory called as DEV. Again, you have one more device file which is called as SDA3. What is that device file having information related to your SATA hard disk? Where it is stored? It is stored inside the directory called as DEV. So let it be any file. Every file is going to follow the directory structure first, and then either it will be a general file or it will be a device file. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let us talk about the users that we have in Windows and Linux. Any idea in Windows what kind of users we have?
A normal user and an administrator.
Correct. In Windows we have normal user and we have root administrative. Anything other than that in Windows? Okay. Will I have both of them in Linux also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if it is Linux or if it is Windows, in Linux also I will have a normal user account and I will have administrative called as root. So even if it is Windows, I will have a administrator which is root. I will have a normal user which is divided into two, either standard user or either a guest user. Okay, so I do not have that category of normal user over here. Everyone is considered to be regular and normal. Whereas if it is Windows, I can categorize them as standard and I can categorize them as guest also. Now, can anyone tell me what is group?
The administrator user.
Group.
A collection of users
Haan.
which are having same access rights.
Collection of users which will have a same access right. Now, can I have group in Windows?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So let it be both the operating system or any operating system, even if my user accounts are different, but when I turn them into a group, that group will be there in both the type of operating system. Let it be a Linux type of operating system or a Windows type of operating system. So your user account may keep on differing, but your group, when they are considered as one similar type of users, they will be there in both the Linux as well as in the Windows. Okay. Okay. Now, does anyone know how do we give names to the files in Windows?
Sorry?
How do we give names to any particular file in a window? Windows
Ma'am,
operating system.
by clicking right click.
ठीक है, राइट क्लिक करके
Step
या
two.
सेव. हाँ, सी एक तो है सेव करते हुए मैंने नाम दे दिया चैप्टर 1, करेक्ट?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I have a same file with chapter 1 name in Windows operating system?
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Yes or no?
Yes.
no, ma'am. It will save as like it will not let us save
It will
that.
not let us save. Why? Because it will tell that you already have a file with the same name. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes.
In Linux, now see, this is the type of files and folders in Windows. These are the types of files and directories or folders, whatever we call them in the Linux. Okay? So this part is of Linux, this part is of Windows. Now I have a file called as report over here. Whenever I try to save another file name report, I get this message. There is already a file with the same name in the same location. So it will not allow me to do that. Yes or no?
Yes.
करेक्ट, क्योंकि वो क्या बोलेगा, रिपोर्ट नाम की ऑलरेडी एक फाइल है, तो अगर आपको एक और रिपोर्ट नाम की फाइल चाहिए तो वो नहीं अलाउ करेगा बनाने को. बट व्हेन यू कम टू लिनक्स, कैन यू सी आई हैव सैंपल, आई हैव सैंपल, आई हैव सैंपल, आई हैव सैंपल. कैन यू सी?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, एक में सब कुछ स्मॉल है, लोअर केस, One second में S is lowercase, rest all is uppercase. Here only S is uppercase, rest all is lowercase, whereas everything is uppercase over here. So can I have this type of naming convention in my Windows operating system?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So that is one of the difference in the naming convention with respect to Windows and Windows and Linux. एक ही जगह पे आपके सेम नाम की 4 फाइल्स है with different naming conventions, whereas Windows will not allow you to do that. If it will ask you either to save it in some other locations, or first of all, it will not allow you to store it in the same location. So that is can be considered as one of the advantage in your Linux, that you can have a file with same names but different naming conventions, whereas you cannot have that same thing inside the Windows operating system. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what other difference do you have in Windows and Linux?
The way they manage the hardware,
Sorry.
the way hardware is managed,
Okay.
as
Way hardware is managed is different in both Windows as well as in Linux. Then can I say in Windows you have hard disk partitions as C drive, E drive, F drive, like this, whereas in Linux your file has a hierarchical file system that it follows: Dev directory, mount directory, user directory, temporary directory, boot directory, like this. Do you have any such kind of directories in Windows?
No.
no, ma'am.
Everything is either the C drive, E drive, F drive, Z drive, whatever names you give. Okay. Then the hard drive, CD-ROM, printers, everything is considered to be as a devices. Peripherals like hard disk, printers, they are considered to be as files in Linux. Why? Because everything is considered as directory, or it is considered to be as a file inside that particular directory. Now in Windows, we have 3 users like administrator, standard, and guest, whereas in Linux we considered all the normal user as regular user and one admin as a root. Correct? In the Windows, who gives all the administrative rights? It is done by the administrator, whereas here who gives the administrative right? It is done by the root user. Then the last is the naming conventions. In Windows, it will not allow you to have a file at the same place with different name conventions, whereas your Linux will give a support to that particular file naming concept.
Ma'am, also the rights of administrator are different. In Linux,
Yes.
user can do anything, but administrator user in Windows is restricted to some things.
Yes, where administrative rights are different if we change from one operating system to another operating system. So you cannot have always the same, जो भी administrative right Windows को है वो same administrative rights Linux को होगी, ऐसा possible नहीं है.
Ma'am,
हाँ.
ma'am, if in Windows, if I have 1 TB hard disk, so I can make a partition of it. So what can I do in Linux?
In Linux also you can have a partition, but that will be considered in the form of files, or it will be in the form of the directories.
Okay, ma'am.
अभी हमने देखा ना SDA1, SDA2, SDA3, ये सब क्या है? Paths ही है, but those paths are not considered to be drives. They will be considered as directories, or they will be considered as a file storing the information about those devices.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. अभी आपने विंडोज में एक पेन ड्राइव भी डाल दिया, तो पेन ड्राइव को भी एक ऑटोमेटिक ड्राइव नेम आ जाता है, HI something like that. Whereas Linux में you will not have that particular letter numbering or partitions like this. It may take some name like PD1, pen drive 1, something like that, which is inside the directory itself. That is a file inside the directory itself. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
With this, we complete our first lesson, Introduction to Linux Operating System. So what all we have studied? Soham.
Yes, ma'am.
क्या क्या पढ़ाई किया फर्स्ट चैप्टर में बताओ?
Ma'am, in first chapter we have studied difference between Windows and Linux. How Linux works with files and how it is used. How
Okay,
to
what else?
Ma'am, other than that we have studied other than that, ma'am,
बोलो. क्या क्या याद है? Whatever you remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrudul.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Ma'am, we studied how a multi-user operating system works,
Hmm.
and then we studied the time slice process and how the time slice system works. How is a particular time allotted to every